Hi, friends, and welcome to this episode of Relational Skills in Real Life. This is Christy Haring from the Thrive Today team, and I'm temporarily stepping in for Chris Corsi as we do a series of interviews with our Thrive Today team members, as well as the trainers from our Thrive Premier training. And this is just a chance for you to get to know us a little bit better and hear how relational skills are making an impact in our lives. So today I am so thrilled to have Claudia Hendricks joining me. So Claudia and her husband Michael are our Track 2 trainers from our Thrive Premier training. They also work on staff with Life Model Works, our sister ministry. Claudia is specifically focused on bringing relational skills and the life model to Latin America. And I'm really excited to have her be sharing with you today. So Claudia, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Christy. I'm glad to see you and being here with you all today.
Oh, good. Well, it's really a delight to see you. We spend a lot of time together at the Thrive Premier training, but that's only a couple times a year.
Yeah.
So it's always fun when we have an excuse to catch up outside of that. So speaking of which, Claudia, can you let us know how you got familiar with Thrive Today and relational skills?
Yeah, I think our path, Michael and I path was kind of unusual because we had the blessing of getting to know Kitty and Jim Wilder first. And so we learn about uh, First Life Model and then Thrive through Kitty and Jim. But Kitty was the one who really pushed Michael when he was thinking and writing a book. Say, I think you guys need to go to Thrive. So she was the one that cheered for us and helped us and encouraged us to come to Thrive. And I'm eternally thankful for that.
Oh, that's so great. I think I remember my husband met Michael around that time, and then we met you shortly after, or I met you shortly after in track two when we were in track two together, and Kitty was leading us through track two. Now you're our track two trainers, so it's been a fun journey.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Claudia, you're going to talk to us a little bit about skill 13, the skill of Godsight, and how that's made and is making an impact in your life. In case anybody is unfamiliar, first of all, we mentioned the life model. We'll put a link to learn more about the life model. If you're not familiar with that concept, we'll put a link in the description of this podcast. But also, skill 13, this is the skill of Godsight. And essentially, this is the ability to be aware of the presence of God with us, Emmanuel God with us, and to be able to tune into his thoughts, his heart, and his perspective so that we can better see the world, circumstances, and people through his eyes, the way he sees them. And so, Claudia, I would love to hear you share about how this skill's making a difference and or a story, whatever you want to share with us.
Yeah, thank you. I remember when I first hear about Godsight, and a way that was that it came into my imagination was like if I had literally have received a new pair of glasses.
Mm.
It was around the time that I was losing my close eyesight. So I was cleaning the bathroom and thought that was clean, but then when I got my glasses, oh, it was not perfectly clean because I needed glasses. And to me, getting to know the way that God sees was a game changer in my life. Uh, Seeing through the guise of Jesus is something that we should have received as babies.
Mm.
No, like our parents were
Yeah.
supposed to look at us through the eyes of heaven. And then when we were a child, we were supposed to be able to see ourselves through the eyes of heaven. And then as we grow into adults, we should be able to see others. And that was something ideal, but I never knew, or I hadn't had the experience how that looked into real life.
Mm-hmm.
So, so for me, it was like literally a factor of identity healing and identity change. Because I remember thinking, oh, I'm a bad mother and then looking at Jesus, and he was looking at me and saying, "No, this is not what I say you are," you know. Um, and so first was a lot of healing around who am I, but then also it was a big impact in repairing relationship with my children, where I was, looking at to what they were not doing well, what they were doing wrong, and things that I wanted to change about them. And
Right.
when I was able to look at them through the eyes of heaven, I saw them bigger than the way I have seen them before, and literally, mm, I think all the motivations that I had trying to change them or to do was more out of fear. So I
Right.
think when we are able to see other people and ourselves through the eyes of Jesus, we really feel a different type of heart pumping inside. It
Mm,
is not the fear, the fear of rejection or controlling or all the things that we do when we are afraid. Things that I have learned as the first language, living out
yeah.
of fear, growing up in in my country and with my family and with a political situation that made us be alert and fearful all the time. So
Oh, wow, that's beautiful. And I love how you were like, as you're talking, Claudia, what really strikes me is you're talking about really a knowing of who we are or who others are, like that's experiential. I know, like in Spanish, like in English, we have one know to know. In Spanish, we've got conocer and saber. There's like a factual knowledge, and then there's like a deep, like experiential knowledge. And what I hear you talking about, it's not just knowing how God sees me or knowing with my head how he sees my kids, but like experiencing it, like really, really seeing it in a way that touches our lives and changes our heart, like what you're talking about. You just are describing it really beautifully.
and I think if you don't experience that through other person, that shows you. That's why it's a skill that we should have received growing up and being that modeled by other people. And I think for me was getting to know Jim and Kitty was saying, oh, these people are living in another dimension that I'm not there yet. But it wasn't that hard, that it was a way to it. So it was
Oh,
literally like getting another pair of glasses to see reality different, to see myself different, to see other people different.
oh, that's beautiful. Can you share maybe a brief story? I think you even had an example of being overseas, or be an example of Godsight at work in your life, and maybe how that situation would have played out differently if this skill wasn't active in your life.
Yeah, well, I remember many years ago, Jim used to talk a lot about our as if, that when we are afraid of what other people are going to think of ourselves or react or reject us or attack us, we just try to live through an avatar that is not our true self. So I will be protecting myself from that rejection or that fear or that hostility, but that is not our true self.
Mm-hmm.
And and that explanation of who am I in this as if is very messed up. So so I know that when I think about myself in a way that doesn't feel peaceful, I know that this is not God's explanations of who am I, because the
Mm-hmm.
voice of Jesus is never condemning, is never shameful, is never accusatory. So when I find myself throwing those thoughts at myself or other person, I know that this is not the right lens to see reality. That's the reality that I've seen through fear.
Mm-hmm.
So it happened to me. I was in a grocery store and got a misunderstanding with someone there, and this person started reacting very hostile and even accusing me, insulting me for a misunderstanding that I thought has nothing to do with what the person was referring to me. But I remember pausing and taking a deep breath and connecting with Jesus. And Jesus said, that is not the real person.
Mm,
That person has been hurt and has nothing to do with you. So just stay with that person and look at him with kind eyes and so that was an example. Like
mm,
Jesus gave me another lens to see a situation that otherwise would have been with me, escaping or running away. But I was able to stay relational with that person and show him that I could share patience and validating his feelings and the situation de-escalated and then we were able to to talk.
mm. Oh, that's wonderful. I love it, Claudia. And really, this is, as you're talking, these are the things that make us the people God designed us to be. Being able to see the world through his eyes, enabling us to be his people, that are transformed into his image. So it's just so inspiring to hear you share with us. If people want to just briefly, it's kind of a side note, but I wanted you to give the opportunity if people want to learn more about what you're doing, because you've got such a great role with Life Model Works. Can you just tell a little bit again about what you're doing and how people can get in touch with you if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, thank you. Well, what I do, I just spend all my time spreading this through trainings with people outside the US, mainly with Spanish speakers. And and so currently I'm connecting with two groups in Mexico, one in Chile, one in Costa Rica, one in Colombia and countries around in Argentina. And so I meet with them. mm, we arrange a schedule and we do these trainings online. Sometimes the opportunity comes to meet in person.
Mm.
Uh, so that's what I do. I help people that wants to learn more in their own context and in their own culture. How can they apply these relational skills?
Awesome.
The way to contact, if you go to lifemodelworks.org, my contact information is right there.
Perfect. They can also probably email info@lifemodelworks.org and then they can
Yeah,
direct
absolutely.
them to Claudia.
Absolutely. In fact, I don't know if we have a couple minutes, but I work in Mexico for a year already with the staff of Árbol de Justicia. It's like a Christian school and home for kids age 4 to 17 that otherwise will be in the streets and they don't have solid families or they don't have families. So this is like a place to help the kids grow into their real identities before God. So I was training the staff for a year, and I went, had the privilege to go a month ago to Tampico, to Árbol de Justicia, and the kids received Michael and I with reciting their group identity. Oh, we are a community of faith, bonded by love and seeking justice for everyone in our community. And then I met with the first group of kids, and I said, well, uh, we have healthy mirrors and broken mirrors. And the healthy ones are the ones who see our true self in each other. So how about if we stand up and everybody shouts out what you see through the eyes of heaven, through the eyes of Jesus? And the kids stood one by one, and the others were shooting, you are honest, you are a good friend. But the way that they did it, I thought, wow, the teachers are really training these kids because they did that so easily. And then at the end, the kids say, okay, now we want to do that with all our teachers. So they call out the teachers one by one and they say,
Wow.
teacher, you are someone who helps me to know God better. You are someone that I can trust.
Mm.
And so this is an application of seeing others through the eyes of heaven. And these kids,
Wow.
I think, is the first time that they got to see themselves that way. And one of the girls say, "Oh, my sister goes to another school, and there's a lot of bullying, but here we don't bully each other."
Wow.
So I think that fits with our theme of seeing through God's eyes.
Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Claudia, for being with us. It's been a delight to be chatting with you. I just want to let the listeners know if you want to learn more about the skill of Godsight, you can go to thrivetoday.org/skill 13. We'll also put that on the description to this podcast. But we have several resources to learn more about this skill. We have other podcast episodes where Chris Coursey talks about this skill. We have free webinars, but we also have a learning pathway where we have a course you can learn more about the theory behind the skill of Godsight, and also practice courses where you can practice exercises to help you develop this skill. So I encourage you to check that out if that's something you want to learn more about or develop in your life. So thank you so much for being with us for this episode of Relational Skills in Real Life. We look forward to seeing you next time.